안녕하십니까. I'm Kathy Stevens, and I'm really pleased to join all of you to talk about the work of the Sejong Cultural Society, which has been working now for more than a decade on its mission of promoting understanding through culture here in the United States, and particularly bringing in elements of Korean culture, traditional culture, matching it with our modern world, and really building a lot of bridges that way. This is a very personal thing to me. I grew up in the United States and first went to Korea as a young woman almost 50 years ago in the 1970s. I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and I found that not only was learning something about culture in its broadest sense was absolutely essential to living in Korea, to doing my work in Korea, it was also deeply, deeply satisfying and stimulating. And like so many Americans and others who discovered Korea whenever it was and whatever age they were, I came back to my home country, to the United States, with a lifelong interest in all things Korean. Of course, in the years since, Korea has blossomed in so many ways, economically, politically, and most especially culturally. And the other thing, of course, that has blossomed is the growth of the Korean American community here in the United States. So it really is wonderful to see the way that so many volunteers within the Korean American community and outside of it have come together to really look at and share the way that Korean culture itself continues to develop, to be influenced by its great history and past and by its new influences, whether we're talking about K-pop or K-drama or all the other K things that now populate our vocabulary. But I have to say, for me, as someone who first heard Sejong in the countryside of South Korea, but way back in the 1970s, I love seeing American children, whether they are of Korean descent or have no connection with Korea at all, learn about Sejong and write Sejong in English. I love seeing the way that old traditional Korean tunes are being reinterpreted by fresh young artists, again, whether they are of Korean background or discovering Korea through their Korean friends and in their communities. So thank you, Sejong Cultural Society, and all your volunteers, all your supporters for what you're doing. I know you have big plans for the future, and I hope we can all do everything we can to support it.